To seam a drop-shouldered sweater, you want to line up your front and back pieces where you bound off at your shoulder edge. And you want to line them up right side up, facing one another. So this is the top of your shoulder. And to seam two horizontal edges together, you want to take your needle and your yarn, and you want to go in between your first and second stitch from underneath to top, just like that. Then you're going to go to your opposite edge and do the same thing. Go in between your first and second stitch and pull your yarn through. You're going to want to work from top to bottom, back and forth, repeating this. So now we're going to go right where our yarn came from and go underneath that next stitch and pull our yarn through. We're going to move to the other side and go right where our yarn came from. And pull through. Keep your tension sort of loose. That way you can reach the stitch you need to sew beneath easily. And in the end, you can tighten your tension. Do this across the whole bound off edge where your shoulder seam will be. Once you reach the end of what you're seaming, just give your tail a little bit of a tug. And pull those stitches nice and tight. And that's a nice clean shoulder seam, seaming two horizontal edges together. Now you're ready to seam your sleeve to your body. And this would be a vertical edge to a horizontal edge seam. You're going to want to do a little bit of math and see what your row gauge is compared to your stitch gauge. My sleeve is 12 inches wide, so I'm going to measure down 6 inches from my shoulder seam and mark that with a pin. I'm going to do the same in the opposite direction, measuring 6 inches and marking that place with a pin. Now I should be able to line up my sleeve and know where to begin and where approximately I should be ending. I'm going to pin the center of my sleeve down too, just to keep the fabric from moving around too much. So now I'm going to go back to the ratio between my stitch count and my row count. I have 4 stitches per inch and 6 rows per inch. Something easier to remember is 2 stitches per every 3 rows. So I'm going to begin right here, and starting with the fabric of my body, I'm going to go 1 stitch in from the side and insert my needle through in between that first stitch and second stitch and pull my yarn through, leaving about a 4-inch tail. Next, I'm going to go into the fabric of my sleeve, and I'm going to insert my needle from underneath between my first and second stitch. And pull my yarn through. Now I'm going to work back onto my body, and I'm going to go into the next stitch and pull my yarn through. You're going to work back and forth between your sleeve and the body of your sweater. Remember to only do 2 stitches in every 3 rows. So I'm going to go into the next stitch. I'm going to go starting from where my yarn left off. I'm going to go under the next stitch. And then I'm going to skip that 3rd bar, that 3rd stitch, and go into the next one. I'm going to insert my needle starting from where my yarn left off, underneath the next stitch, and go under the next stitch on my opposite side. I've reached the midway of my sleeve, and you can see I've pulled my seam nice and tight, nice and smooth. And now continue working, seaming 2 stitches into every 3 rows until you reach the end. Now that you've seamed your sleeve, you can fold your pieces so that you're looking at your sweater laid out flat, and you're going to seam the sides of your sweater and the under part of your sleeve. One way to do it is to start from here to the underarm and seam using the mattress stitch. Then start from the bottom of your sweater to the underarm, seaming using the mattress stitch. To start seaming your sleeve, you want to separate your edge stitch from your first stitch. You're going to see that bar. You want to insert your needle underneath that bar and pull your yarn through. You want to do the same on the other side. And you're just going to go back and forth, inserting your needle underneath the next bar between your edging stitch and your first stitch. Use the mattress stitch to seam the sides of your sweater, and I would recommend starting from the bottom and going to the underarm. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching.